There we go. Good afternoon. At this time, I'd like to call the March 22nd meeting of the Plaquemines Parish Council as a sole governing authority of the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to order at 1 p.m. The machine is open for roll call.
Miss Audrey's not on.
You're gonna hit it.
What was it? I'm sorry. Let the record reflect all commissioners are present except for Commissioner Edgecombe and Commissioner Black. At this time, if we could please stand for the prayer.
We take this moment to acknowledge Almighty God and thank Him for our bountiful blessings, especially for our parish natural resources. We give thanks to God for our brave and courageous men and women in our military who daily risk their lives to protect our precious freedom, and we pray for world leaders to know how to attain world peace. We pray that this government body, comprised of both council and administration, will always serve our parish with honesty, humility, and equality to all. And as this government body gathers here today, we pray for the wisdom to know right from wrong and the courage to do which is right. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Fast on your toes. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We'll move right into the agenda. Item number 2. There being none, we'll move to item number 3.
Status report by the Executive Port Director.
Mr. Chairman, Paul Matthews, Port Director for Plaquemines Port. Mr. Sanders is unable to attend today as he is in Washington, having meetings with the American Association of Port Authorities and also with MARAD. So I wanted to say off the bat, just to make it clear, as regards to Executive Director reports, I cannot do a better job than Sandy. Sandy does a wonderful job. So I just wanted to say that off the bat. A couple of things that are happening at the port lately. We are paying off, as of April 1st, the bond at $1.8 million roughly. Over the last 2 years, the port has paid more than $980,000 out of pocket to pay it off. I want to thank the leadership of the board to say that we needed to pay that off and get that out as soon as possible. And we're very thankful for the people of Plaquemines Parish supporting us, in particular the business entities of this parish. Also, you may see, as you're driving up and down Highway 23, you may see new signs of Plaquemines Port. We've put up some new signs. You've probably seen the old signs up there for a while, and they're getting a little dirty and getting a little old, and so we thought we'd freshen it up a bit through the leadership of the previous chairman, Bo Black, who suggested it. So now you'll see some very nice Plaquemines Port signs that are talking about the preparedness of our new developments and obviously for the continued growth and operations of the parish district, the port districts, in fact. Also earlier this month, the chairman and I, and also Donald Durr, attended the PAL conference, the Port Association of Louisiana conference, which is annual. It was held in Lake Charles. It's a great opportunity for, frankly, all the ports, all 32 ports in the state of Louisiana, to come together and discuss best practices, how to work with one another, and any issues that are on the federal level and the state level that we need to come together in support of or opposition. We had a great meeting with Senator Cassidy, who met during the board meeting with the ports and discussed the concerns of the increase in tariffs for steel. As we know, our friends upriver, Port of New Orleans, they are the third largest importer of steel in the United States, very significant. That tariff increase would also be an issue for metals such as zinc, copper, aluminum, tin, steel billets. So we as ports all had the position that we are for the greater movement of goods through the state and waterborne commerce. And so we hope that maybe the president would change his mind, as we would want all of our ports to have the opportunity to move more cargo and see more vessel calls in the states. And that may impact, which I doubt it will, any vessel calls through the district. But if there are greater opportunities to move cargo, we would hope that the federal government, the the administration and the Congress would see fit to do that. It's very important to note with our ports, our 32 ports, that frankly, 60% of the nation's grain is carried by Louisiana ports. 1/4 of the waterborne commerce in the United States is carried by our ports, and 20% of the nation's petrochemical products coming through the ports in the state of Louisiana. So we met with ports on the lower Mississippi River, but also ports such as Lake Charles, Port of Caddo, Bossier, and Shreveport, and also our friends at Port Fourchon, and in particular Chet Chasson, who's the executive director of Port Fourchon. We had great conversations with him. He knows all about our developments and opportunities here in Plaquemines Port, and he's very supportive of them. As a matter of fact, we had a great conversation about if there's any questions or any issues that we may have with the Corps, that I can reach out to him at any time. He's more than willing to discuss best practices, what they've done before. Also, if we're going after any grants and we're looking for him, he can help us any way that he knows how. As a matter of fact, they have a staff member that their number one job, 100% of the time, is to focus on grants for development of the port. And he extended her hand as well as being open to us. And so I know there's been questions about dredging and how do we get funding for dredging. And so if there's ever a question by the board compared to other ports in the state, how dredging is funded and how they get it done, please let me know and I can give you the answers to those questions. And if I don't have the answers to those questions, if it's about a specific particular port, I'm more than willing to get on the phone or email or text or carrier pigeon and make sure I can get the information from those ports. They are our sister ports. We work together. We all do different things. Our first goal is to try to get the cargo to our port, but if it can't get to our port, let's keep it in the state. And all 32 ports have that position. Also want to announce on the schedule for April 8th through the 10th, Cargo Connections Conference, which will be held at the Chicory in New Orleans. It's a great annual conference where shippers, traders, BCOs, ports, carriers, all come together to seek opportunities and networking. Port of New Orleans takes the lead on this every year, but the 5 ports along the lower Mississippi River usually sponsor and support the efforts, and so Plaquemines Port is doing it as well. Later this month, we are, Sandy Sanders and a representative from the American Patriot Holdings is going up to St. Louis to meet with the St. Louis Regional Freightway. The port is signing a global MOU with the St. Louis Regional Freightway, which includes multiple ports up the Mississippi River, and that includes the state of Missouri, the state of Missouri and the state of Illinois. So we're excited about that. One of the ports that we'll be signing the MOU with again is Jefferson County Port Authority, which we have before. But this mainly is a MOU of support of the vertical integration process that we're looking at long-term for our port, working with other ports along the Mississippi River. I would also say that in June of this year, there is an American Association Commissioners Conference. Annually, they have a conference just for commissioners only, to once again talk about best practices, how to increase value in your port, working well with the staff and PR, and as such, that will be held on June 16th in Montreal, Canada. So if any commissioners would like to attend, please let me know. Obviously, we need a passport, so we have to get that started pretty soon. And lastly, Chairman, if I may, I went to the doctor this morning, and my doctor told me I lost some weight. It may or may not impact our cargo numbers for the year, but I will let you know, okay? And outside of that, that concludes my report.
Thanks, Paul. I'll have a few brief comments, but to kind of piggyback what Paul was saying about the conference, I think it was very productive. I had the pleasure of meeting not all 32 port directors, but I would say at least half. And it was good to hear some of the things they're doing around the state, as well as inland, not just on the Mississippi River. And like I said, it was a great event, and met a lot of folks. And as we continue this progress forward, hopefully, networking and the friendships continue. So that's all I have, and I'll open it up to the rest of the commissioners if they'd like to add any comments. There being none from the audience. Next item, please.
Bids and advertisements.
There are none.
Introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
Mr. Bartholomew? Ms. Lapine? Mr. Juneau? I have none. Mr. Roussel? None. Ms. Salvant? Ms. Williams? Item number 6, please.
Ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. 6B, an ordinance authorizing the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District to accept funds from Port Security Grant Program number EMW-2017-PU-00169 for firefighting bunker, gear, and equipment, and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer and ask for a second. Second by Councilmember Bartholomew. Any comments or questions from the table, from the audience? There being none, machine is open. And the ordinance is granted 7-2 with 2 members absent. Next, please.
A resolution adopting the addition to the operating policies for the Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District.
I'll offer and ask for a second. Second by Mr. Juneau. Any comments or questions from the table, from the audience? Hearing none, machine is open. The resolution is granted 7-2, 2 members being absent. Next item, please.
New business, introduction of resolutions wherein suspension is being sought. There are none. Number 8, approval of the February 22nd, 2018 meeting minutes.
Offered by Mr. Bartholomew. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Williams. Machine is open on the February 22nd meeting minutes. And it's approved 7-2. I will, anyone make an offer for adjournment? Councilmember Bartholomew offers. Ms. Williams second. Machine is open. What's that?
2 votes pending.
And the adjournment is 7-2, 2 members being absent at 1:12 p.m. We'll take a 5-minute.
I'd like to call the Plaquemines Parish Council meeting March 22nd, 2018 to order at 1:16 p.m. Machine is open for roll call.
One vote pending.
Let the record reflect 7 council members are present. Council members Black and Edgecombe are absent. We're going to suspend the prayer and the pledge as we've done that previously. Before we move into executive session, I'm going to list the deferrals for anyone in the audience that may be waiting on a specific item. Items 4G and H will be deferred. Items 6A1, 6A2 will be deferred. Items 6B, C, D, F, H, K, L, and M will be deferred. And items 7C, F, and I will be deferred.
B, C, D, E,
B, C, D, E, F, H, K, L, M. And item 7G will be withdrawn. Y'all need me to recap? Or y'all? Okay. Okay, I'm going to recap one more time. Items 4, G, and H will be deferred. Items 6A1 and 6A2 will be deferred. Items 6B, C, D, F, H, K, L, and M will be deferred. Items 7C, F, and I will be deferred.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yes, item 7D will also be deferred. So under 7, items C, D, F, and I will be deferred, and item 7G will be withdrawn. And at the request of Councilmember Bartholomew, before we move into executive session, can we please move to item 6G?
A resolution to appoint a representative for District 1 to the Plaquemines Parish Zoning and Planning Development Board and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Councilmember Bartholomew? Councilmember Bartholomew offers as read. Is there a second?
To fill in the blanks, please. Fill in the blank with the name.
Anthony, where's, Amitra, she not here? She can have the name of that. Pass
Want
over.
to pass over? I'm sorry. Well, we'll pass over.
Anthony Alonso is his name, but wait, just pass over.
Okay. Well, we'll pass over. Once we come back from executive session, we'll move to that item. Can you read executive session, Ms. Barber, please?
6A1, Midway Cattle Ranch LLC et al. Versus Plaquemines Parish Government, USDC-EDLA 2:17-CV-07468. Attorneys from Berglass and Tankersley. Councilmember Trufant Salvand. Number 2, discussion of attorney-client privilege communications regarding ownership of lands in the Venice Dome area, LRS 42:17A10, Attorney L.V. Cooley, Councilmember Burt. Number 3, the Parish of Plaquemines versus ConocoPhillips et al., 25th JDC, number 60-982, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus HHE Energy Company et al. Versus 25th JDC, number 60-983, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Exchange Oil and Gas Corp. et al., 25th JDC, number 60-984, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus LLOG Exploration and Production et al., 25th JDC, number 60-985, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Equitable Petroleum Corp. et al., 25th JDC, number 60-986, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Linder Oil Company et al., 25th JDC, number 60-988, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Riverwood Production Company et al., 25th JDC, number 60989, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Hellas Oil and Gas et al., 25th JDC, number 60-990, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Bepco LP et al., 25th JDC, number 60-991, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus North Coast Oil et al., 25th JDC, number 60-992, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Caskets Operating Company et al., 25th JDC, number 60-993, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Goodrich Petroleum Company et al., 25th JDC, number 60-994, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Devon Energy Production Company et al., 25th JDC, number 60-995, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Roselle Operating Company et al., 25th JDC, number 60-996, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Palm Energy Offshore et al., 25th JDC, number 60-997, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Great Southern Oil and Gas Company et al., 25th JDC, number 60-998, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Hillcore Energy et al., 25th JDC, number 60-999, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Apache Oil Corp. et al., 25th JDC, number 61-000, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Campbell Energy Corp. et al., 25th JDC, number 61-001, Division B. The Parish of Plaquemines versus Total Petrochemical and Refining et al., 25th JDC, number 61-002, Division B. Attorneys Carmouche, Kosich, Parasol, Taylor, Connick, Berglass, and Tankersley. Councilmember Lapine. Number 4, Martzell, Bickford, and Centola APC et al. Versus Plaquemines Parish Government, 25th JDC, case number 64-201, Division A. Attorney Peter Barbe. Councilmember Roussel.
At this time, we'll move into executive session, but before we exit, I just want to let everyone know, we're going to take them in order as listed. So we'll take Midway Cattle Ranch first with Burglass and Tankersley, and then we'll come out as we're finished with those, we'll come out and get the next ones in line. That way everyone's not just standing in a hall in the back. So at this time, I'd like to offer a motion to move to executive session. Okay, before we exit for executive session, let's go back to 6G, please. She's going to have to read them all over again, though.
No. Huh? She would? That's all right. Let's do it. Executive session.
Motion to move into executive session is made by Councilmember Juneau. There a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Bartholomew. Machine is open. Let the record reflect it's passed to move into executive session 7-0 at 1:25 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting back to order, coming out of executive session at 2:25 p.m. with no legal or binding action. At this item, can we move to agenda? At this time, can we move to agenda item 6G, please, Ms. Barbara?
6G, a resolution to appoint a representative for District 1 to the Plaquemines Parish Zoning and Planning Development Board and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
Mr. Bartholomew?
Offer as presented to the chair.
Mr. Bartholomew offers, and I'll second, filling in the blank on line 11 with the name Anthony, common spelling, Alfonso, Alfonso. At this time, is there any questions or comments from the table? Audience? Hearing none, the machine is open for a vote. The resolution passes 7-0. Let's revert back to the agenda, Ms. Barbara.
Status report by the parish president.
Mr. Cormier?
Good afternoon. For the record, Parish President Amos Cormier, status report March 12th, 2018 to March 22nd, 2018. If I may, Chairwoman Williams, was there, I can't recall at this time, was there a moment of silence for Fireman Headley? Okay, if I may take a moment, I'd like to everyone for a moment of silence. We had, and just a brief prayer possibly by Reverend Giles, Reverend Edwards, if one of you, we had the loss of Fireman Headley, tragic loss. If we could have a prayer from Officer Headley.
Officer Headley?
Yeah.
For the gracious and eternal God, we've taken a moment of our lives and time with God to give homage and legacy to the young man that lost his life. We pray that your Holy Spirit will bring strength to his family, God, and his legacy of service and commitment to this parish and the job to live on forever and all our members and spirit. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Let the record reflect Mr. Bartholomew's leaving the meeting.
Yes, our thoughts, prayers, and condolences go out to the Headley family. And on that note, on Monday, March 12th, we had a joint visit with the U.S. Army Corps, our Coastal Director, Mr. Frelish, myself, several others, to the first phase of Tiger Pass, the Spanish Pass Ridge Restoration Project. And it was quite enlightening because there are literally acres and acres and acres of new land that you can walk on and visit and see. And that is evidence of the usefulness of these dredge and pipeline delivery projects, which have immediate results. They are not that expensive compared to, especially compared to the two projects that CPRA is proposing. They're relatively cheap, and the results are just immediate, and they have very low adverse impact on our commercial seafood industry because the delivery of the material consists of more sand and sediment than it does of water, and oftentimes the water that carries phosphates, nitrates, and has the hypoxia problems and the dead zone issues that so often occur. On Tuesday, March 13th, delivered an address at Woodland Plantation, and the very next day at that address, I recommended and urged the concept of return on investment. And the very next day at GNO Inc., Michael Hecht spoke about how economic development today has gotten sort of a bad name as being giveaways and handouts, and how GNO Inc. defined economic development as, and I quote, creating conditions so that companies will want to invest their money in your region. And I have to say I agree with that definition. And for better or for worse, currently we don't have the capital to invest, but whenever you start talking about actual cash, I think we have to have a high standard for the return. That afternoon, I had a speaking engagement. We were lucky. Mr. White from our very own Plaquemines Parish School Board was the president of Louisiana Association of School Business Officials. And Mr. Ronald White, as president, held that spring conference here in New Orleans and invited me to give the welcome address. And our school system has been rated quite high, and they do a fine job. I think we've had top ratings at several of our schools, and they're to be commended for it. On March 15th, I had a meeting with officials from Daybrook. And Daybrook's one of a big employer in South Plaquemines. I noted that they have captains. They have four captains with whom Councilman Burt and I went to school. And they expressed interest and concern. They're having, they would like to participate or help in having more electricians trained, and also operators. They're having trouble meeting their demand for employees. And I put them in touch with a lady from Plaquemines Parish School Board. And so we're going to try to make sure that the programs, this vocational technical type training, that meets the demands also of Daybrook, so that we can, currently they're doing a good job with the refineries in training our young people, and also other people of different varying ages to prepare them for those jobs. And we want to incorporate the training program, also tailor it for our Daybrook fisheries. Also Thursday, March 15th, Councilman Bartholomew had his had our first town hall meeting. That one was in the Braithwaite area. Numerous topics came up. We had a good turnout, and I thought it was always enlightening and productive to get exchange ideas with members of the community. On Friday, March 16th, we were lucky to have beautiful weather, and I want to thank Councilman Juneau and Councilman Roussel for coming out. We were privileged with a visit from the French Consul General to Plaquemines Parish, a very erudite and educated man who had yet to visit Plaquemines. He took over as Consul General in several months back. He noted that there are millions of dollars that come in to Louisiana every year from French tourists, and because of Louisiana being a former French colony, they love to come here and visit. When I was in France, I noted that Louisiana and New Orleans is always on the map, as to where, when I was in England, they'll put Houston on the map and Atlanta, but they will not put New Orleans. So this is one from the standpoint of cultural enrichment. We had a ceremony at the De La Salle Monument at Fort Jackson. We commemorated the over 300 years of arrival and influence, and also we spoke about ways in which the parish could attract more of the French tourist to spend their monies in Plaquemines Parish and benefit our local businesses, and also enrich ourselves with mutual cultural exchange. On Monday, March 19th, had meetings with the representative from Bow Brothers regarding the work on Lake Hermitage Road. We also had a meeting with the phone conference with Galaforo, who is doing the Plaquemines Parish Library at Port Sulphur. One of the issues that we're having is that when the river gets high, as it is today, the Corps shuts down any digging or excavating activity until the river goes back down. So we have a hold on the work at the library, but some of that work has already begun, but that will begin as soon as the Mississippi River goes down some. We're hoping that that does not affect the Lake Hermitage operation. It may, I think they were looking in the distances. On one section it might affect it, and the back section it might not. We have begun our preparations. Even though with this cool weather, we don't like to think about it, but we've already begun our preparations for hurricane season. We're worked, as I stated briefly last time, we worked with the state. The federal regulations change, and we're trying to make sure that our contracts stay up to date with those changing and morphing regs. Yesterday, we want to thank Councilman Juneau, Councilman Roussel for attending the pre-council meeting. Those meetings are always helpful and help the flow of these meetings. I also know there were other activities, and so I think we had a meeting on ownership of lands for duck hunting, and we also, I think there were some port activity meetings as well. And today, this morning, Really wonderful event. We had at South Plaquemines High School, I had the grand opening of the Special Olympics, and it really was inspiring to see these children come out and participate in Special in the Olympic Games, and it really makes one feel thankful. We had beautiful weather for it. Thank God for that, and also just to see these children, run and laugh and enjoy themselves, truly gives one a new perspective on life and all the blessings that we do have. Last but not least, Director of Operations Don Beschel is not in attendance today because he's at a levy certification meeting for the Hisdris, and that meeting is being held at the same time in New Orleans. Finally, we also had a meeting with the Corps and representatives from Phillips 66 regarding levy alignment issues and regarding the process of the non-federal levy system from New Orleans to Venice. And with that, Chairwoman Williams, I turn the time back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments from the table? From the audience? Councilmember Lapine?
Reverend Giles, I guess this is directed date on the Pride, the big boat, where it stands, where we at.
This morning, we took the Pride to the shipyard. We had a problem with the propeller. It was hit by a log. We had to wait till they opened up the locks, which was granted to us this morning. So we're hoping to get a full status report on just the extent of damage to the Pride. We're hoping, I had to use that word because every time I say that, something else shows up. I'll get your report when I get a report from Bollinger.
Okay. We just got it off the shipyard, so this is a new problem, correct?
That is correct. That is correct. That was something unforeseen. There's a lot of law. It's like 2 weeks ago, we had a rope got tied up in the propeller, and then after that, a log hit it, and it's beyond our control. Nothing we do about that.
Thank you for the update.
Okay.
Anything else? Audience? Next item, please.
Beer and liquor licenses.
Mr. Lapine?
I have none.
Mr. Juneau? I have one for Mr. Edgecombe. It is for Alex's Lounge, 33112 Highway 11. It is a alcohol license renewal application. Mr. Russo?
Yes, I have one. It's Big Drink LLC doing business at Suds Tavern. It's located at Barrier Road, and it's for renewal as well.
Mr. Burt?
I have none.
Ms. Salvant?
Yes, I have one. Myrtle Grove Bar, B&C Ventures Incorporated, Highway 23, Myrtle Grove, Louisiana. That's a beer, alcohol, and beer renewal. Only one. Thank you.
Mr. Russo, you offer those?
I offer.
Mr. Russo offers those renewals. Mr. Burt seconds. Any questions or comments from the table? From the audience? Hearing none, the machine is open. Oh, God, I'm sorry. Legislation passed, the liquor license renewals passed 6-0. At this time, Ms. Barber, can we move to item 7H on the agenda, please?
Discussion of classroom safety by Peyton Pfeiffer.
Pfeiffer.
Councilmember Lapine.
Mr. Lapine?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to ask this young man to come to the podium. This young man, this bright young man, resides in my district. He is such an outstanding young man. that has done so much in community involvement. I see him in the future sitting right here if he stays in District 3, because I know he has great things to come. He has some information, and he's already spoken to the school board. So he asked to address the council of some of his concerns. So I welcome today, and I don't have to say be nervous. Don't be nervous, Peyton, because you're never nervous. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Lapine. Like you said, I'm Peyton Piper. I'm a sophomore at Belle Chase High School. Very interested in politics, as he briefly mentioned. And I was actually in Washington, D.C. when the Florida school shooting happened. I was sitting in the Senate chambers. So I became motivated to think about what we can do here at the local level. I was motivated by the Bible verse, James 1:22, but be doers of the word, not hearers only. So I took to Facebook. I reached out to my local school board member, and I said that I wanted to get a conversation started. And I wanted to put a new plan in place to ensure that we are safe in our schools. As soon as I landed in Washington, D.C., I was contacted by Councilman Black. Thank him and Mr. Lapine for organizing this and pushing me and being a platform for me as well. Like he said, I addressed the school board, where I proposed putting school resource officers in our schools. And I was told by school leaders that, or a school leader, that students will not dictate change and that I needed to look at the facts. And well, here are the facts. There was a school shooting this past week in Maryland where a school resource officer shot the school shooter within a minute of him opening fire. So I'm aware that as a council, there's nothing you guys can do for that, but I'm just making everyone aware of where the process that has happened so far. And like a school leader had also said, that we have plans in place. And as a student, I'm aware of these plans, and our current plans are to hide along the wall and throw a textbook at a guy if he comes in and tries to harm us. But I've talked to friends, and we no longer feel safe with just a textbook in our arms. So, as our parish leaders, I'm asking you all to work with our school board members, to work with us, to come up with unique and interesting ways to ensure the safety of us students. And like I said, there's not, I've talked to the school board and I understand that they have to be the forefront of this, but our preamble of the Constitution does state that it's the role of our government to ensure domestic tranquility. I'm requesting that it was my idea that we come up with a day where us students can meet with all of you, because one of the things that I did agree with the superintendent on was that we need to improve communication between students and our leaders, whether that's teachers, school board members, administration, or you all. So if I have to take on the role of organizing it, I will, but I would like to have a day where whether you come to the school or we meet with you guys and our voices can be heard. We can't vote yet, I understand, but we are citizens and we are your constituents as well. So I think that would be a great way to get the conversation further going and get other people involved as well. I'm also asking that our parish continues to grow and support any efforts being taken to spread mental health awareness and to find mental health problems. Like many causes of these school shootings are our mental health, and that starts with us, that starts at the local level. So it's really important that we continue to support that. Like I said, I just wanted to get the conversation started from all aspects, and that was my main intention here. And I would love to hear any ideas that you may have, and I will leave you with the Bible verse that I mentioned in the very beginning. But be doers of the word, not hearers only. I pray that the Lord continues to lead all of you. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Peyton.
Peyton, you're an extremely intelligent young man, wise beyond your years. I've had the privilege, when you was an officer for the National Beta, to hear you speak in front of those thousands of people in the Cajun Dome. And you're poised. There's individuals that have been talking for years in front of audiences that doesn't have the confidence that you have. And your concerns are legitimate concerns, and I wish you all the luck in the world, and if there's anything that I can do to assist you, please feel free to reach out. Any questions or comments from the table? Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. Ms. Salvant?
Yes, Mr. Piper, I kind of take it just from listening to you that I want to get your take on how did you get, how were you received at the school board? I kind of take that you wasn't received as well. I don't know, but I need you to perhaps clear that up for me.
Yes, ma'am. So there were many school board members themselves who supported me and who gave me words, but our superintendent has made it clear that he's against school resource officers and that he said it himself at the school board meeting that while he likes to hear students' words and their opinions, he, in quotes, said students will not dictate change. So if that helps clarify anything. So that's why I asked you all to, if they won't listen to me, my hopes is that adults, leaders in our parish can work together. And he did start the superintendent's communication committee, which I'm on. But like I said, every time I try to bring up my ideas, they do get shut down.
Well, I just want to encourage you, sir, that this is a gallant step that you're taking, and I, too, wish you a lot of luck in all of your endeavors.
Thank you.
Because it's a worthwhile subject.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lapine?
Thank you, Peyton. That was awesome. You know, I think you're an awesome kid. If you are determined and you able to get a group of kids to listen, I'll be there anytime, any day that you need. And I'm sure my colleagues would be glad to sit and assist you in any way that we can help. We're very proud of you, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the table? From the audience? Hearing none? Oh,
Did the gentleman tell you why he disagreed with what you were saying?
Mr. Vance, can you?
The gentleman you spoke to, did you ask him why he disagreed with your thoughts?
I was told that I need to look at the facts and that the school resource officers do not work. That's what I was told.
Did you ask him why? I mean, does he have any idea why they don't work?
Well, as a student, and I have to go to school every day, so I try to keep relationships on the positive side. And like I said, I don't want to push beyond my limits. And thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments from the audience? Mr. Edwards?
I want to commend the young man, but also want to commend the whole Plaquemine Parish School Board, because on last week at Phoenix High School, all the schools in Plaquemine Parish walked out the classroom and paid honor to the 17 students who was killed in it. And I thought that was a good thing that Mr. Roussel did and the school board did, and they took the leadership on that. And the kids at Phoenix High School got in the middle circle and began to talk about looking at measures that can be taken with the same spirit this young man did. So I love the fact that he learned a lesson that sometimes even when you're young, you might have good ideas, but that don't mean everybody agree with it, and how you accept that and move on with it. So I think you're on a good road to do that. And because I think Mr. Roussel is the superintendent of the school. So I think that's a proper attitude, because when I was your age, you know, I was a rebel, you know, sometimes. So I'm glad you learned at an early age something I should have learned when I was young, that even though we have great ideas sometimes to ourselves, but it might not be the best idea for the situation and the time that you're in.
Thank you. Belle Chase High School also participated in the walkout. I helped organize that as well. So thank you. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Next item, Ms. Walker, please.
Construction permits be taken 4A, 1, 2, and 3 in Globo. 4A1 Upstream Exploration LLC application number 2017-650, dated September 19, 2017. Install and maintain mooring piles or pile clusters to support a temporary storage barge, Breton Sound Area Block 46 and 51, Councilmember Bartholomew. Number 2, Williams Oil Gathering LLC, application number 2018-142, dated March 1st, 2018. Install 2 concrete mat placements on existing 20-inch Mountaineer pipeline, Breton Sound Area Block 51 and Main Pass Area Block 59, Councilmember Bartholomew. Number 3, CCI Port Nickel LLC, application number 2018-147, dated March 5th, 2018, installing new vehicle approachway and levee ramp at Braithwaite Facility, English Turn Road, Braithwaite. Councilmember Bartholomew.
I'll offer on behalf of Councilmember Bartholomew in his absence. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Roussel. Any questions or comments from the table, from the audience? Hearing none, the machine is open. Construction permits passed 6-0. Can we take B and C in Globo, please?
Terry and Kelly.
Oh, B. Well, that's a floodplain. Amitra, can we take those in Globo even though they're different?
B, Terry and Kelly Bonnet, trailer residents in R-1C, 174 Caroline Avenue, Port Sulphur, Louisiana. Councilmember Edgecombe. C, Eugene M. Lynch, trailer residents in RC-1C, 27102 Port Sulphur River Road, Port Sulphur, Louisiana. Councilmember Trufant Salvant.
Let's take D and F as well then. If we could take them all. I
D?
didn't know because they were different, but that's fine.
Minos Scarabin, trailer residents in a floodplain 17495, Highway 23, Myrtle Grove, Louisiana. Councilmember Trufant Salvant. And I'm sorry, which one, F?
F, yes, ma'am.
Socum Shray Trailer Park, Socum Shray Trailer Park Renewal, Perry Lane, Beers, Louisiana. Councilmember Williams.
Offered by Ms. Salvant, and I'll second. Any questions or comments from the table? Audience? Hearing none, the machine is open. Legislations pass, permits pass 6-0. E, please, 4E.
Empire Fireworks Charles Lenormand Fireworks Stand Renewal 32381B, Highway 23, Empire, Louisiana. Councilmember Edgecombe.
I'll offer on behalf of Councilmember Edgecombe. Can I get a second? Seconded by Councilmember Roussel. Any questions or comments from the table, from the audience? Hearing none, the machine is open. Renewal passes 6-0. Items G and H are going to be deferred. Number 5.
Introduction of ordinances and resolutions.
Mr. Lapine? Okay.
An ordinance to prohibit the parking of vehicles on Avenue B in Belchase from its intersection with the southbound side of Highway 23 to the fence and high school football field, to establish a penalty for violation therefore, to authorize the parish president or his designee to sign a no parking signs installed and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. That's all.
Mr. Juneau?
Yeah.
I have a few. I have one on behalf of Councilmember Edgecombe, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan for the Restore Act project and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution authorizing the parish president or his designee to accept a donation from the Rotary Club of Belchase and Plaquemine South of a 36-inch by 42-inch historical marker in memory of Paul Harris, the founder of Rotary, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to approve the amended pay plan adopted by the Civil Service Commission on February 20th, 2018, to create the classification of diesel maintenance mechanic Tier 2 and 3, diesel mechanic technician, air conditioning mechanic technician, hydraulic mechanic technician, Tier 4 diesel mechanic technician, to delete the classification of diesel mechanic and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance authorizing an emergency exception to the hiring freeze currently enacted on all vacant positions of Plaquemines Parish government and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2018 General Fund Operating Expenditure Budget Legal Judgments Department line item salaries and wages for settlement of case number 64-358, 25th JDC Division B, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2018 general fund operating expenditure budget, legal judgments department, line item salaries and wages for settlement of case number 2017-CA-0076, Court of Appeals, Fourth Circuit, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. That's all. Mr. Russo?
Resolution authorizing Plaquemines Parish President Amos Cormier to execute supplemental agreement number 1, which amends the existing cooperative endeavor agreement between the Parish of Plaquemines and the Parish of Jefferson dated July the 5th, 2016, authorized by Resolution number 16-188, adopted on June 9th, 2016, for right-of-way acquisition for the Peters Road Bridge and Extension Phase 2 State Project number 826-63-001, H008068, to provide for a time extension of 1 year, which does not increase the cost to Plaquemines Parish.
Oh.
So,
Mr. Byrd?
I have none.
Ms. Salvant?
An ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of International Marine Terminals Partnership, a Louisiana partnership, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as shown on map of re-subdivision of a portion of Myrtle Grove Plantation, portion of Wood Park Plantation into tract Z-2, Z-3, and Z-4, section 7, 8, and 9, 7, 8, 9, and 10, Township 17, South Range 25 East, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, by Cody A. DeMarco, dating Marquise and Associates, LLC, the owner having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of Parish of Plaquemines without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the Parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise with respect thereto. That's all I have.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to add an item to the agenda for consideration of authorizing Danny P. Garrett III to represent the council and its members named in their official capacity in Paula Dove versus Plaquemines Parish Government et al., docket number 64-358. And I'd like to offer that motion for consideration to add that item to the agenda. Machine is open.
I'll second.
I thought it had to be unanimous.
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Roussel. Questions or comments from the table, from the audience? Hearing none, the machine is open. The rules has been suspended to add the item. So you want to we can just take it up now? Okay. We'll just take that item up at this time. I'll read it. I'll just read it, Ms. Barbara. Resolution authorizing Danny P. Garrett III to represent the council and its members named in their official capacity in Paula Dove versus Plaquemines Parish Government et al., docket number 64-358. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Roussel. Questions or comments from the table, the audience? Hearing none, the machine is open. This resolution passes 6-0. Let's revert back to the agenda, please, ma'am.
6A3, an ordinance approving that certain cash sale agreement and authorizing and directing Amos Cormier, Plaquemines Parish President, on behalf of the West Bank Levy District to purchase certain land owned by Woodland Borough Pitts LLC and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
Ms. Salvant? Offered by Ms. Salvant, seconded by Mr. Byrd. Ms. Salvant?
Yes, this legislation actually is to approve a cash sale agreement with Woodland Borough Pitt for property that, as a result of previous legislation and actions to provide flood protection levies by this council, created an uneconomic remnant. And it actually has no value to the ownerships at this time. And if there is any other questions that need to be addressed, I'm going to ask Mr. Ari Marks to come up and address your concerns.
Mr. Marks?
I can answer any questions while this has been brought up.
You want to elaborate?
Sure. So in 2013, you guys acquired.
Can you state your name for the
I'm
record?
sorry,
sir?
Ari Marks. I'm here from GCR. I'm a consultant for the Land Department of Plaquemines Parish Government.
Thank you.
In 2013, the Wilkinson Pump Station project was initiated, and the parish acquired servitudes for that pump station. One of those servitudes was an access road that led from Highway 23 back to the pump station. In 2016, the Corps of Engineers determined that that temporary servitude could not serve as a permanent access connection, so they realigned the access connection to cut off of Audubon Road along where they were planning to do the canal and levee for the 05A2 project. In the interim, you guys so you acquired that road on a perpetual basis, and then in between that acquisition and now, you've also acquired the levee servitude that is in what became that uneconomic remnant. So the parish has already paid them for the damages and that road servitude, and in fact, the Corps of Engineers has already reimbursed the parish for that acquisition. There's about a $9,300 remainder value that from the Uniform Act that guides all of these acquisitions. The Corps of Engineers and the parish are required to offer that landowner to buy the remaining value of that property. The property owner took you up on that offer, and so that is why we're here.
Questions or comments from the table?
One more comment, just to point out that the dollars are all completely reimbursable by the Corps of Engineers.
Questions or comments from the table? Mr. President?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Marks. Could you just please elaborate, it's the whole relationship, does the West Bank Levee District still exist? And has it been subsumed into Schlaffer West as a member of Schlaffer West? Or what exactly is the status of the West Bank Levee District?
You know, sir, I'm not really able to answer that. My understanding is the West Bank Levee District is, LV will come up for that one.
I guess the question was about what?
What's the current standing? You know, before we had the Grand Prairie Levee District, the Buras Levee District, and there was the West Bank Levee District. And then we have this entity, Schleffer West, which we now have to pay money towards. Did they subsume the West Bank Levee District as a member of the Schleffer West, or what?
There's no relationship between Schleffer West and the West Bank Levee District, particularly as it even relates to this transaction. This transaction has nothing to do with that. This particular transaction is, as Mr. Marks indicated, as a consequence of takings or appropriations, we left an uneconomic remnant to the landowner. And the Corps says certain laws require us to make an offer to the landowner the remaining value of that land, and that's what this is all about. And this particular ordinance authorizes the parish to make that acquisition.
But, and I'm fine with this ordinance, but I guess just for clarification, I've had questions on this. Historically, the West Bank Levee District would cover the territory that was previously Schleffer. Where's the boundary between the West Bank Levee District and Schleffer West? I guess might be another way.
I don't know. I mean, Schleffer West is not, it has nothing to do with Plaquemines Parish. It's outside the boundary of Plaquemines Parish, Schleffer West. All the levee districts are within the Plaquemines Parish, and they were merged as a consequence of legislative action and action by voters back in, I want to say, 60s, 70s, or 80s. So we have separate levee districts that still exist, and those levee districts are governed by Plaquemines Parish government. They're part of Plaquemines Parish political subdivisions. still existing.
Thank you.
Ready to move, Ms. Audrey?
And call for a vote.
Okay. Question has been called on the item. Machine is open. Ordinance passes 6-0. Next item.
6E, an ordinance to provide for the acceptance of donations by the Fort Jackson Museum and otherwise to provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer this item with the changes that I passed out earlier to everyone. On line 13, the amount is going to be $745. Can I get a second? Seconded by Mr. Roussel. What this is the acceptance of a donation from the Stephen Ambrose Historical Tour, and the amount is $745. Questions or comments from the table? Audience? Hearing none, the machine is open.
There's one vote pending.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Wait, let me put you on. Hold on. I can't key you in. Can you talk loud?
Yes, how will Section 3 of this legislation work if we elect to go back and rehire our economic development or reestablish our economic development department? I'm referring to Section 3, 34 through 36. all right?
It's my understanding the intent of this is going to be used for supplies and resale of items in the museum itself. We have approved a curator position that's been posted, but it hasn't been filled, and it's fixing to go back out because they didn't have anyone qualified that applied for the position. So it's my understanding that these funds are going to be utilized for supplies for resale of items in the museum.
Okay, I'm just concerned are we establishing or creating a separate entity within government? Because for instance, like right now, if there's any donations come in, it would be made payable to the government and / it would be dedicated to whatever line item. So I'm just trying to figure out, are we creating another?
No, it was made payable to the government for the Fort Jackson Museum, for a line item in the Fort Jackson Museum's budget.
Okay. That was my concern.
Okay. Legislation passes 6-0. Next item, please.
I, a resolution authorizing the parish president or his designee to accept the donation of an historic anchor recovered and owned by Chevron USA, Inc. for use and display in the Fort Jackson Museum and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer. Seconded by Mr. Juneau. This is an anchor that if you've passed by the Fort Jackson Museum lately, you see that it's already in place. It's out on the lawn at the museum. As the resolution states, it was recovered by Chevron and it's being donated to the parish. This is just to accept the donation. Questions or comments from the table? Audience? Hearing none, the machine is open. Legislation passes 6-0. Next item, please.
J, an ordinance authorizing Plaquemines Parish government as grantor to renew and approve two existing 2-inch natural gas pipeline right-of-way agreement with Chevron Pipeline Company as grantee covering parish-owned property located in the northeast quarter of Section 26, Township 21, Range 28 East, Shell Island Bay Area of Buras Levee District, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, to authorize the parish president to execute the pipeline right-of-way agreement and otherwise provide with respect thereto.
I'll offer. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Roussel. Mr. Elvey, you want to come up and explain this one? It's a right-of-way? Just a right-of-way acquisition? Pipeline right-of-way, yes.
I think everything that, I put the
Oh,
lease
it's a
in
renewal,
front
it's
of
a
you.
renewal.
Yeah, it's a renewal. Actually, the lease, what happened in this particular case, Chevron had a servitude, or its predecessor had a servitude on land that was donated to the parish. And that servitude, which was a pipeline servitude, I think terminates by reason of its own accord March 2018. So they want to continue operations there. They submitted an application and asked for a new pipeline agreement, and we put it in place and are asking the council to authorize it. And you've got the draft of that agreement in front of
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Questions or comments from the table? Audience? Hearing none, the machine is open. Legislation passes 6-0.
7B, update and presentation by District 7 Councilmember Trufant Salvant.
Salvant?
Well, actually, I'm going to defer it because I had two questions, but both questions was for our Director of Operation, and he's not here,
Okay,
so I'm going to defer.
that item will be deferred. Next item?
7E, update on advanced electronic water meter reading. Councilmember Roussel.
Roussel?
Yes, I'd just like to get an update where we're at and what the time frame is for seeking proposals.
Who's, Reverend Giles or you or?
I'm looking for Mr. Dugas.
We do have a meeting scheduled Tuesday for 10 a.m. in the engineering building. You are more than welcome to attend if you're able.
And this is with,
It's with the engineering firm, Principal. I think it's Principal Engineering Firm.
okay.
Oh, okay.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, next item, please. You want to leave it on the agenda?
No, you can take it off. I'm going to attend the meeting, and if I decide to put it back on, I'll put it
Okay.
back.
7J, discussion and update on the Wagon Wheel and Venice Dome
Oh,
by.
that's deferred, I'm sorry.
Number 8, approval of minutes from the March 8, 2018 meeting.
We get an offer to approve the minutes. Offer by Mr. Lapine, seconded by Mr. Juno. Questions or comments from the table? Audience? Hearing none, the machine is open. Minutes are approved 6-0. We get an offer, a motion to adjourn the meeting. Offered by Mr. Byrd, seconded by Mr. Lapine. Questions or comments? Not a debatable item. Machine is open. Meeting is adjourned at 3:17 p.m.